Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to call this meeting to order. I'm going to start with a short prayer, and Councillor Slipchuk's going to start us off this morning.
Thank you, Lord, for all you give us, Lord. Let be a blessing upon us. I pray for our community. I pray for our staff and councillors. I pray that we make the right decisions that for the residents of our community and for the betterment of our community. And we love one another and look past each other. In Jesus' name, I pray you bless us and keep us and give us wisdom for us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Councillor Slipchuk, for opening prayer. We have agenda in front of us. Is there any additions to the agenda? Yes, Councillor Kraviak?
Mr. You'd like to add in camera, a closed session?
Closed session?
Personnel, whatever.
Okay.
We can have that at the end of the meeting if you wish.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's, under intergovernmental relations, I got something to say there too, so.
Okay.
that can go on
So
there.
add from Josh.
Thank you.
Any other additions to the agenda? It's a long one. Okay, seeing none, I'm looking for a motion, gentlemen. Yep. Thank you, Councillor Kraviak, for making a motion on behalf of council that we're approving the adoption of the amended agenda as presented. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you, that's carried. We're looking for the adoption of the minutes regular meeting of council, January 9th, 2024. Thank you, Councillor Swager, for making a motion on behalf of council to approve the regular meeting, January 9th, 2024. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, I'll call for the
Reeve?
vote. Oh, sorry, yep.
Thank you, Mr. Reeve. At the January 9th, 2024 regular meeting of the council, and subsequently at the January 16th, 24 committee of the whole meeting, Councillor Scarson was not in possession of his MD-provided iPad. As a result, there was no way to cast an electronic vote. Councillor Scarson opted to vote using text messaging sent to the recording secretary, who inputted his vote choice into the eScribe system. The chair and the CEO were not aware of this issue at the time. Section 21.3 of the MD procedure bylaw states votes shall be made by the raising of hands or by an established electronic voting method, as text messaging is neither an approved or an established method of electronic voting, and as the minutes need to reflect accurately the actions taken at a council meeting. Administration recommends that council adopts the minutes, allowing on a one-time basis the votes cast by Councillor Scarson through text messaging at both the January 9th regular council meeting and the January 16th committee of the whole meeting.
Okay, thank you.
And I believe the Lead Services has motions to that effect.
Okay, we'll wait for that motion. So we need another motion to allow it, or just show of hand?
So the motion would be to adopt the minutes, either accepting the motions outside of the procedure bylaw, or approving the minutes, striking those votes from the record.
Okay. You're good with that? Who made that motion? Dana? Yeah. You're okay with that?
Yeah, so you can either adopt the minutes accepting the votes just being done outside of the procedure bylaw, or striking the votes from the record as being done outside of the procedure bylaw.
Okay, yeah, no, the motion would be we'll accept the votes as they were done.
Okay. Well, I'll wait for that to come up. All right, thank you, Councillor Swagger, for making a motion on behalf of council. The council approves adoption of the minutes of January 9th, 2024 regular meeting of council with one-time acceptance of the votes cast in a method that were contravention to the MD procedure bylaw number 1787, and that the record indicates as such. Sorry, new glasses today. I'll call for any discussion on this.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
could just say that I think if we just approved the minutes, it would have accepted the votes anyways, so I
Okay.
don't think we need to do this.
You
but-
probably need to, okay, any other comments or questions? All right, I'll call for the vote. Okay, that's carried. Looking again for the Committee of the Council on January 16, 2024. Okay, thank you. Councillor Kraviak? Okay, thank you, Councillor Kraviak, for making a motion on behalf of council that council approves adopting the minutes of January 16, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting with a one-time acceptance of votes cast in the method that were in contravention to MD procedural bylaw number 1787, and that the record indicates as such. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. That's carried, thank you. Okay, let's go on to 7.1, development application number 2024 D002.
Good morning. This is development permit application 2024-D-002. The applicant is April McGraw. The applicant is applying for a detached garage with a second floor secondary suite with a size variance from 1,076 square feet to 1,200 square feet. The property is located in the North Shore Heights multi-lot residential subdivision on Moose Lake. Adjacent properties are residential parcels. The applicant would like to construct a 30 by 40 detached garage with a second-story secondary suite. The existing garage will be demolished to accommodate the new structure. The height to the peak will be 23 feet, which is compliant for the CR district. The suite will contain 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and 1 kitchen/living area. Due to the proposed size of the garage, they are requesting a floor area size variance from 1,076 square feet to 1,200 square feet. The size variance is less than the 25% as allowable per section 20 of the variance authority. A review of the Moose Lake area structure plan shows no issues with this proposed development. Adjacent landowner letters were sent out on January 23rd, 2024, and we have not received any response. Our recommendation for development application 2024-D-002 is approve the request for a detached garage with a secondary suite with a size variance from 1,076 square feet to 1,200 square feet as a discretionary use as per Part 3, Section 20, Part 6, Section 59, and Part 7, Section 61.2 of the Land Use Bylaw with the following conditions. An approved building permit is required as per the Alberta Safety Codes Act. Applicable electrical, gas, plumbing, and sewer permits are required as per the Alberta Safety Codes Act. Building waste materials shall be contained on site in a waste bin or a covered/enclosed trailer as per Section 2 of the Consolidated Public Safety Bylaw number 1812. As per Section 71.4 of the Land Use Bylaw number 1667, the minimum setback shall be front yard 7.6 meters, side yard 1.5 meters, rear yard 7.6 meters, building height maximum 7 meters for accessory buildings. The building location to be staked out by an Alberta Land Surveyor, CET, or other approved designation in Alberta and submitted for approval by the MD of Bonnyville prior to the commencement of construction. Upon foundation completion, but prior to inspection, Alberta Land Surveyor building certificate shall be provided to the Development Authority. Any questions?
Councillor Fadеев.
Yeah, good morning, thank you. So this is just, just for private use then?
Through the Reeve to Councillor Fadеев, yes, this
Okay.
is for private use.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, anyone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve.
Right. Thank you, Councillor Scarson, for making a motion on behalf of council that council approves development application number 2024D002 for a detached garage with secondary suite with a size variance from 1,076 square feet to 12,000 square feet as discretionary use pursuant to Part 3, Section 20, Part 6, Section 59, and Part 7, Section 71.2 of the Land Use Bylaw for Ariel McGraw as per recommendation presented. Any discussion on this motion, gentlemen?
Mr. Reeve, just to
Yes.
clarify, you actually said 12,000 square feet. You
Yeah,
meant
it's 1,200, yeah.
Just so the people listening didn't get that wrong.
I gotta keep my head exactly still here to read. I gotta find another set of glasses on the break here. Yes, Counselor.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think we're going to see more of these coming forward in the near future, because with the cost of everything, and family members helping family members and providing, assisting each other, so they will be prepared for more of these coming forward, I think, in the near future.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. That's carried, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Thanks. On to 8.1 subdivision application.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Administration has received and is presenting a subdivision application 2023-S-017 for council consideration, wherein the applicant is proposing to consolidate an existing 12-acre parcel into Northeast 2, 64-6 west of the 4th Meridian, and furthermore subdivide 14 acres from the same agricultural quarter section as shown on the map attached as Appendix A. And scroll down to the next one, please. Notification of the proposed subdivision was sent to referral agencies and adjacent landowners with a deadline of January 3rd, 2024 to submit concerns to be considered at the February 13th, 2024 council meeting. No concerns have been received regarding this application. The application meets all conditions of the Municipal Government Act, Subdivision and Development Regulations, the Lower Athabasca Regional Plan, Municipal Development Plan, and the Land Use Bylaw. Therefore, we recommend that it be approved as per conditions. Legal and physical access to proposed parcels and remnant. Dedicate a 17-foot strip along the east side of proposed parcel and remnant for future road widening. Real property report. Septic compliance. Consolidation of CFT 072094128 prior to registration of the new proposed lot, and taxes to be paid in full. Administration recommended action is that council approve subdivision application number 2023-S-017 to consolidate an existing 12-acre parcel into Northeast 2, 64-6 west of the 4th Meridian, and further subdivide a new 14-acre parcel from the same agricultural quarter section for Richard Sweeney and Lillian Sweeney as per conditions presented.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we approve this application.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Slipchuk, for making a motion on behalf of council. That council approves subdivision application number 2023-S-017 to consolidate an existing 12-acre parcel into Northeast 2, 64-6 west of the 4th Meridian, and further subdivide a new 14-acre parcel from the same agricultural quarter section for Richard Sweeney and Lillian Sweeney as per the conditions presented. Any discussion on this motion, gentlemen? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. That's carried. On to 20S018.
Administration has received and is presenting subdivision application 2023-S-018 for council consideration, where the applicant is proposing the subdivision of 7 new parcels from Northwest 9, 61-6 west of the 4th meridian. The proposed layout can be seen on the map attached as Appendix A. And the next one, please. Thank you. Notification of the proposed subdivision was sent to referral agencies and adjacent landowners with a deadline of January 15th, 2024 to submit concerns to be heard at the February 13th, 2024 council meeting. No concerns have been received regarding this application. The application meets all conditions of Municipal Government Act, subdivision and development regulations, and the Lower Athabasca Regional Plan, Municipal Development Plan, and the Land Use Bylaw. Therefore, we recommend it be approved as per conditions. Legal and physical access to proposed parcels and remnant, compliance with the Alberta Safety Codes Act and Provincial Public Health Act, municipal reserve to be provided by way of land, developer to enter into a development agreement with the MD, a deferred servicing agreement to be registered against each of the lots, ensuring the future landowners can be serviced by communal services, the developer to register utility easement right-of-ways, developer to provide supporting documentation for the stormwater pond, taxes to be paid in full, and with addition of the real property report. That one is not on the conditions that were sent in your package, but a real property report is required because there is currently a house being built on the southmost portion of that land. The recommended action is that Council approve subdivision application 2023-S-017 to consolidate an existing 12-acre parcel into northeast to, oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. We're going to go back here. To propose to subdivide 7 new parcels from Northwest 9, 61-6 as presented.
Okay, thank you. We're looking for a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Scarson, for making a motion to approve on behalf of council, that council approves subdivision application number 2023S018 to subdivide 7 parcels from Northwest 961-6 west of the 4th meridian for 1801460 Alberta Limited as per the conditions presented. Any discussion on this? Yes, Councillor Slipchuk.
I just got a question. That road that goes in front of all these lots, is that a cold mix road?
Can you bring the map up, please?
I think it's gravel. This last half
Here,
is-
okay. So through the Reeve, currently, there is an internal subdivision road that has been created through there that is not finished. It is just a gravel road at this time. One of the conditions will be, in the development agreement, will be that it will have to be surfaced accordingly to the requirements of the MD.
Okay, is there a time limit when that has to be resurfaced?
It will be within the development agreement. So when we draw up the development agreement, all the dates will be set out in that for the developer.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion, gentlemen? All right, I'll call for the vote. Thank you, that's carried. On to S019.
Administration has received and is presenting subdivision application 2023-S-019 for council consideration, where the applicant is proposing to subdivide 1 10-acre parcel from the east half of Northwest 31-59-4 west of 4, as shown on Appendix A. And to the aerial. Thank you. Notification of the proposed subdivision was sent to referral agencies and adjacent landowners with a deadline of January 9th, 2024, to submit concerns to be considered at the February 13th, 2024 council meeting. No concerns have been received regarding this application. The application meets all conditions of the Municipal Government Act, subdivision and development regulations, and the Lower Athabasca Regional Plan, municipal development plan, and the land use bylaw. Therefore, we recommend it be approved as per conditions. Legal and physical access to proposed parcels and remnant, cash in lieu of municipal reserve, real property report, and taxes to be paid in full. Administration recommended action is that council approve subdivision application 2023-S-019 to subdivide a 10-acre parcel from agricultural plan 2322528, Block 1, Lot 1, within Northwest 3159-4, west of 4th Meridian for Diane Vachon, as per the conditions presented.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we approve the subdivision.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Reeve Crick, for making a motion on behalf of council that council approve subdivision application number 2023S019 to subdivide a 10-acre parcel from agricultural plan 2322528, Block 1, Lot 1, within Northwest 3159-4, west of the 4th Meridian for Diane Vachon, as per conditions presented. Any discussion on this? Yes, Councillor Fadeev.
Yeah, just a question. So for that subdivision, like their home is there, like already?
There
Or the
isn't
homestead?
anything there right now. It
No.
is an abandoned yard site.
Okay,
The applicant is subdividing because she does have a sale for the yard site.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, I'll call for the vote. That's carried, thank you. On to S20.
All right, this is my final one for you today. Administration has received and is presenting subdivision application 2023-S-020 for council consideration, wherein the applicant is proposing to subdivide 3 parcels, one 77-acre, one 68-acre, and one 10-acre parcel from agricultural quarter section southwest 2463-6, west of the 4th Meridian, as shown on the map attached as A, Appendix A. Notification of the proposed subdivision was sent to referral agencies and adjacent landowners with a deadline of January 11th, 2024, to submit concerns to be considered at the February 13th, 2024 council meeting. No concerns have been received regarding this application. This application does not comply with the current municipal development plan. Therefore, administration recommends this application be refused. Alternately, council may approve this application as it does comply with the Municipal Government Act and Land Use Bylaw, subject to the following conditions: legal and physical access to proposed parcels and remnant. As per the road approach policy, one approach is permitted on parcels less than 80 acres. Therefore, one approach would be required to be removed from the 10-acre parcel. A 17-foot strip of land along the west side of the proposed and remnant to be registered by separate road plan. Cash in lieu of municipal reserves. Real property report. Compliance with the Alberta Safety Codes Act and the Public Health Act, and taxes to be paid in full.
Thank you. Councillor Slipchuk.
Yeah, could you tell us what the reason is for the subdivision?
So, for the subdivision or for the refusal?
Rezoning.
There is no rezoning required on this subdivision because we're still in agricultural quarter section taking out one parcel. However, the Municipal Government Act does not allow for 80-acre splits any further. Our land use bylaw does allow for the 80-acre splits to continue with the option of taking a up to 10-acre parcel out of each of those 80-acre splits. So the refusal is because it's against the municipal development plan. However, the approval is towards the Municipal Government Act and the land use bylaw.
But did they say why they want to break it up this way? What's their family's reason, or?
I did not ask that question.
I have a question, because I know that land quite well. When you were speaking, did you say that on the 10-acre of the north parcel, you'd have to take one of the approaches out?
Yes, there's 2 approaches into that yard site.
Well, the way that yard is situated, it's from the beginning of time that I remember, it'd be pretty hard to take one out to make that yard functional, because the house is cut out, put on top of a hill, and then the rest of the yard is cut out. So there's an approach into the house and there's an approach into the yard. That'd be pretty tough.
Council does have the right to amend any of the conditions that have been placed or to add any conditions that they feel need to be.
And then the other 2 70-acre, they'd need to put approaches into them as well?
That's correct.
Because that's one oil-filled road down the middle of that. So there's really a big approach for both. But it's not like, I don't know, the line is very fuzzy there. You don't know where that's at, right?
Mr. Reeve?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, just a question to clarify. So the 80-acre split, though, we have allowed a quarter to be split into 2 80-acre parcels. So, but you mentioned the Municipal Government Act. Did you say the Municipal Government Act doesn't allow that anymore?
No, the municipal development plan
The
does
plan
not allow
doesn't.
for it any longer.
So our municipal development plan doesn't allow for 80-acre splits?
That is correct.
Okay. Was that recent that we changed that one? I hate to ask that one, but.
The municipal government plan, I believe, was changed within the last year with the amendments made at that time.
Okay, and so, I mean, because we were trying to save agricultural land, so they're looking for, I mean, I guess I'm wondering if it's good agricultural land, it's, I guess, 40% or whatever, so it could still be farmed or could be ranched?
I
Or?
farm it, so I probably had a 100 bushel acre wheat crop on there this year, so it's marginal land, but if you know, but it's quite new land because that whole quarter was in trees for probably 20-some years, right? And then they recently logged it off and started farming it again, right? So the land is gonna be better than a quarter that hasn't had continuous crops on it for how many years, right?
And it should still be farmed, if this subdivision goes, it would still be farmed, I would imagine.
Yeah, I don't know what they wanna do, why they're splitting it, this is, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
There's-
I assume people split it because they can sell each 80, it's about an 80-acre chunk, so they'd split it and try
Maybe-
selling them. I'm not
I
sure.
just learned out my neighbor's first name, I never knew her first name, and because I called her Mrs. Dahl all my life, so, I didn't know her first name, and that's pretty sad.
And so I'll just ask, so about 2 years ago then, before we changed the municipal development plan, that probably wouldn't have been a concern. It was a little less than 80 acres, but that probably would have been allowed.
Through the Reeve, that is correct. We would have allowed an 80-acre split to happen previously, but because I have to abide by what my documents are, that's what my documents are telling me that my recommendations need to be.
Okay. I mean, I guess I'd like to have that discussion some other time about the 80-acre split again, because I actually don't remember us removing the 80-acre split, but we did apparently, so.
Would you like to make a motion, Counselor?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this division, but with and amend it that we leave the 2 approaches, because as that yard site is, it's an old yard site, that 10-acre home property.
You want, do we need to put that down, or it's when they're re-subdividing it?
So if you are wanting to change one of the conditions that are set in there, council needs to advise administration as to how they would like the changes to be made. If you would just like to strike the option to have the second approach removed, then that's something that administration can adhere by.
Okay,
Yeah, I'd be okay with striking that, about removing the approach, that's it.
so you guys have to write a whole new,
No, the options will be the same. It'll just be on Appendix B, number 2, under the list of conditions that were set out. It says that as per Municipal District of Bonnyville Municipal Road Policy, Approach Policy, 2A2, parcels less than 80 acres, more or less, may only have one approach, therefore one approach shall be removed from the proposed 10-acre parcel. If council wishes to strike that, they just need to let me know that, and I will strike that.
Okay. You need a motion to, just, should it be in the motion here?
Yep.
Okay. Just give her a moment to write this up. Is that good for you? Counselor Slipchuk? All right, thank you. Counselor Slipchuk, on behalf of council, making a motion that council approves subdivision application number 2023S020 to subdivide 3 parcels, 177 acre, 168 acre, 110 acre parcel from our agricultural core section southwest 2463-6 of and west of the 4th Meridian for PALS Geomatics Corp. On behalf of Jacqueline Daw as per the conditions presented with the exception of the requirement to remove the second approach. Any discussion on this? Yes, Councillor Fadeev.
Hi, good morning, thank you. So in regards to the 68 acres, so there's 10 acres taken off of that 68?
On the south half, there's a portion taken out already. If we can refer back to that map again.
So, yeah, on the southwest
In the
side.
southwest corner.
So there's about
Yes.
4 acres there?
Yeah, there's a small subdivision there on the like it shows the 77 acre half. It has the small portion taken out there. And then with the north 80 acres, the yard site taken out there would reduce it to the 68 acres rather than 70 because the full quarter was not 160.
And this is not a fragmented section or nothing like
No, it
that,
is not.
right? I mean, it's, yeah, we've, not in favor of this, we've sent quite a few people away before, and now we're gonna try to prove this, not in favor. If it was fragmented, it'd be a different story, but, that's just, all right, thank you for that.
Any other discussion on this motion? Okay. Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. This is carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Let's go to 9.21. Coming way out of the back.
Thank you, Mr. Reeve, members of council. So I come to you today with a request for approval to apply for a FireSmart grant under the FireSmart grant program. With assistance from the Provincial FireSmart grant program, a wildlife mitigation strategy for the MD of Bonnyville was completed in February of 2020. This strategy called for the removal of vegetation from several high-risk areas within the MD, and we have successfully completed up to phase 3 of a 5-phase mitigation process, as well as the completion of the tabletop exercise in September of 2023. FireSmart offers grants for both vegetation and non-vegetation initiatives, and administration is seeking council's approval to apply for grant funding totaling $200,000 under the non-vegetation portion of the FireSmart grant process for the creation of a FireSmart coordinator position. This would be a 2-year term position that would see the position funded through this grant but staffed and employed by the BRFA, Bonnyville Regional Fire Authority. Taking this step would prevent the MD from making applications for grant funding through vegetation portions of the FRIA grant process for this calendar year. The MD has already completed phases 1 through 3 of the wildlife mitigation strategy, which address the communities of Mary Lake, Crane Lake, and Evergreen Estates, with phases 4 and 5 in Ardmore and Pelican Narrows remaining. The 2 remaining communities have little to no public land, which has caused us to focus our efforts on prevention and education rather than the elimination of vegetation. The BRFA typically manages the Fire Smart process on behalf of the MD, and the creation of the Fire Smart coordinator position could see the benefits from the following. Number 1, for the duration of the term, the BRFA would have a full-time staff member to coordinate this process, which would improve the service to our ratepayers. Number 2, the coordinator would provide an enhanced service by providing support through public education on private land, fire mitigation, private home assessments, coordination of traditional Fire Smart activities on public lands, development of guidebooks and public information, public presentations on Fire Smart practices, applications for outside grant funding, fire guardianship, and so on. After preliminary discussions with the BRFA, we believe the best scenario would be for the coordinator to be funded through the FRIA Grant Smart program but employed by the BRFA. Section 3 of the MD's Fire Services bylaw calls for the BRFA to, quote, carry out preventable patrols, pre-fire planning, and fire inspections, which is why we believe that this fire prevention and mitigation position should remain with the BRFA. Appendices attached are the actual wildlife mitigation strategy, which was prepared in February of 2020. Reference to our strategic plan, we believe that this would enhance safety in our community. Cost and funding, total estimated costs would be $200,000. This project would only proceed with grant approval, and 100% of funding would be sourced from the FRIA Fire Smart grant program. There's no communication strategy at this time. We'll wait for a decision through council before proceeding. And it's administration's recommendation that council approve the submission of a grant application to the Forest Resource Improvement Association of Alberta Fire Smart program for up to $200,000 for non-vegetation funding for a Fire Smart coordinator position. I'll take any questions.
Okay, Councillor Fidiev, then Councillor Swiger.
Thank you, Mr. Reeve. Just to clarify, I guess, so we'll hire a position, but I'd just be concerned that I'm not against hiring the guy or whoever is going to do this, but then apparently we can't apply for a Fire Smart funding program for clearing and that sort of thing for the first year. Is that true?
That's correct. Through the Reeve, the way that it would work is it's sort of a one or the other. So it's either vegetation or non-vegetation. Applying for one would preclude you from applying to the other for that calendar year. We have looked at our mitigation strategy, the wildfire mitigation strategy, which called for essentially vegetation management in the first 3 phases, but in phases 4 and 5, much of what they've isolated as problem areas are on private land, not on public land. So we are not obviously able to apply for grant funding to mitigate risk on public land. We have to then educate the homeowners and attempt to get them to look at mitigation strategies on their own. So that's sort of the intent now. As we've done the vegetation mitigation in the first 3 phases, we feel that moving into more of an education piece and coordination piece would be more appropriate for phases 4 and 5. We simply don't have any public land to remove vegetation from, according to the wildfire mitigation strategy.
Okay, no, appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, Councillor Fidiev.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, last year we've seen some pretty close calls for residents and things like that. So are you guys going to be collaborating with different communities like say Saskatchewan and First Nations, because we had a big fire there on the Cold Lake First Nations that was moving east quite rapidly towards our residents. Is there going to be some sort of collaboration or anything along those lines with this, with this position?
Through the chair, excuse me, through the Reeve, yes, the coordinator position would be a, somebody who'd be able to put some of those meetings together and some of those public events together, the education piece. As far as the coordination between fire departments and local authorities, that would remain with myself as the Director of Emergency Management,
Right.
with the fire chief for their mutual aid agreements. But on the education piece and through external partnerships, schools, education, et cetera, that would likely fall to that coordinator position, which is where we feel if the plan is to follow the wildfire mitigation strategy, we're sort of segueing more into an education role right now as opposed to vegetation management.
Yeah, just the way we seen it last year was, unfortunately, I got to witness it off my deck. We had it was very fortunate that we had the wind that played in our favor, how it turned around. But if it wasn't for that, there would have been some lost homes on the MD side for sure, which is it's a big concern. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, Councillor Subchak?
Okay, so this resource officer would be, you find it's going to be beneficial for our community, right? Huge benefit for the safety of our community, help with,
Through the Reeve, yes, I certainly believe so. With these types of things, there's increased pressure. Everyone knows that there seems to be propensity for fires to get started here and to get going in the spring. It's just around the corner. This position obviously wouldn't be up and running for quite some time. But we have to take little bites at this as we can. So I personally believe it's a good move for us. I think the education part of it, if the roadmap is the wildfire mitigation strategy, we should stick to that, segue into the non-vegetation management portion of it, which is what we're looking for with this coordinator position.
okay, I understand that part there, cost and source of funding. This project would only proceed with grant approval and 100% of funding. So if we don't get the grant, we're not going to go forward with it?
Through the Reeve, there was no position, there's no ask to council for this position through budget deliberation. So we are looking at the grant to fund the salary dollars and all of the requisite expenses that go along with having that position. There are other communities that have done this. We're not the tip of the spear on this. We do have some templates that we can follow, and this type of thing is not that unusual. So we're hopeful that we'll be successful.
Okay, so if we don't get the funding, then we could bring it forward to council for this position, so that if it's for the safety of the residents and benefit.
If, through the Reeve, council can make that decision to fund any position. But we've been managing with the BRFA. This is about, enhancing what we already have. The BRFA has been running with our input, the FREA program for us. A lot of that heavy lifting in terms of the vegetation control has already been done, as I stated. So we're really getting into the education part. So essentially, if we're going to maintain the relationship with the BRFA that we have in terms of the FREA process, then we'd be asking them to do some of this education as well. And as we know, everyone's chasing resources. So if we can secure this position through the grant process, I think it's a win-win for both us and for the BRFA.
Thank you.
Yeah, Councillor Swigert?
Thanks, Mr. Reeve. So I'm really familiar with the area in Ardmore that we would be concerned about, because residents are concerned already. And you're right, it's like a quarter section of land, probably, half of that in trees that, back out onto residents. And so it'd be great to have that position to, talk to the communities and sort of get them involved. But is there any community grants that communities can apply for? Societies, communities, or whatever, for brushing and clearing? Because ultimately it needs to be done.
Through the Reeve, well, this is, the FREA grant is available only to communities. That's why the BRFA is unable to actually apply for grant funding on their own. So we as a community, we apply for the grant funding, and then we you know.
No,
we did-
sorry, first, you're going to apply for the grant funding for the position, though. I'm thinking about going forward, you still have to clear the, there's lots of brush and underground and stuff to clear there, so how, can we get funding? Like, can the society do that, because you're saying that, because it's private land, there's no funding for that?
Through
So-
the REAP, that's correct. So private land, there is no grant funding for private land available through, like, we can't make an application on behalf of any resident. If the question is, can residents make applications through FRIA? That's a good question. I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer for you on that. I can
Okay.
return to council with.
Yeah, because it's not individual residents I'm talking about, it's, the Ardmore Community Society owns a quarter of land. I'm not sure, we'll check into it, I guess, because,
Through the REAP, I can look into that, and I'm sure there's different categories available through FRIA, but I just don't know all of them. I was more focused on the ones that would apply to us.
okay, thanks. So I'll make the motion to go ahead and apply for that funding to hire that position.
Thank you, Councillor Swager, for making a motion on behalf of council that council approves the submission of a grant application to the Forest Resource Improvement Association for Alberta, better known as FRIA, Fire Smart Program, for up to $200,000 for non-vegetation funding for Fire Smart Coordinator position. Any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. That's carried. How long is this next one? Quite a while?
Through the REAP, I mean, if I'm first up, I could probably go through this in about 10 minutes. Public safety annual report.
Okay, go ahead. Then we'll take a short break after that, and then we have 10 o'clock, I think.
All right. We're going to forego the RFD and jump into the report here. So this is the 2023 Public Safety Annual Report. It's prepared every year for the Solicitor General, and we share it with Council as a matter of practice. The report calls for us to identify, if we can just scroll down. The report requires us to indicate what our mission statement is. We've indicated what both of the mission statements are for our general duty officers and also for the school resource officer position. Mission statements haven't changed over several years. Our team, the next slide, please. Our team consists of, well, we've got our individuals that are named here. We've got 8 officers. Focusing on crime, next slide, please. Crime prevention is a key component to our operations, from neighborhood patrols to suspicious persons vehicles. We work with the RCMP or share information regularly to help prevent crime. Next slide, you'll see some of the crime prevention patrols that we have conducted this year. Bin sites, 450 bin site patrols. Campsites, again, we're looking at bin sites, we're looking for illegal dumping, things of that nature, people that are dumpster diving and looking for assets, that kind of thing. Campgrounds, we're into this about 440 patrols for this year. Landfills, just over 350 patrols for this year. We've also included town halls and community halls and that kind of thing. We are sitting at about 175 for the year. MD infrastructure, including grader shops, and other assets, we're looking at approximately 140 MD infrastructure patrols in Kinnessee Ridge, at about 25 for the year. Focused on industry, our next slide, please. We partner with Synovus, Baytex, CNRL, and Imperial Oil to deliver patrol services on their well sites and service roads. conducting commercial vehicle inspections and delivering education programs as well to their staff upon request. In 2023, we delivered 1,033 hours of patrol services to our industry partners on a fee-for-service basis. Additionally, I mentioned commercial vehicles. In 2023, MD Peace officers conducted 297 commercial vehicle inspections. From these inspections, 97 vehicles had to be placed out of service until the repairs were made. You can see on the next slide some of the things that we found, and these photos are all taken from vehicle stops within the MD. You can see we've got some loose materials. We've got a blown tire, looks like some brake lines with some chafing. There was a tailpipe that was literally hanging on by a chain, just dangling there. Lots of issues with cargo securement still. Overweight vehicles, just scroll back up to the top if you, right there please. Overweight vehicles can damage MD roads and infrastructure. In 2023, 42 violations were observed, resulting in over $24,000 in fines. Vehicle safety regulations are in place to keep motorists of all classes safe. In 2023, 425 commercial vehicle safety regulation charges were laid. And we already looked at some of the photos that our officers were able to provide. Focusing on safety, there's over 2,700 kilometers of roads within the MD of Bonnyville. And if you forward to the next slide, we'll look at the charges. There were 1,770 tickets issued in 2023, along with 918 warnings. Highest speed recorded this year was last year, 214 kilometers an hour in a 100 kilometer an hour zone. And you'll see the volume as well of bylaw tickets, particular unsightly properties. 59 bylaw tickets and 12 unsightly properties as well in 2023. Next slide is an indication of patrols by location, time, and number of visits. So Ward 1, you can see we've got all of the wards listed there, as well as the communities of Glendon, Ardmore, Cherry Grove, and Fort Kent. And I'll just hold on this slide for a minute or two if there's any questions. And the next slide, calls for service, typical calls for service by number. This includes the MD and Glendon. Dog control and livestock, looks like we're pretty standard there. We're 200 last year, 206 a year before, picking up a little bit from the years prior. Joint force operations, we've doubled in 2023 from 2022 numbers, and joint force operations can be anything with partnerships with the RCMP to provincial sheriffs, in some cases other community peace officer programs. Abandoned vehicles, we dealt with 15 of those in 2023. Noise complaints, you can see the data there is fairly standard across the board. Illegal dumping of waste saw a bit of a downturn from last year, but still a little bit higher from in years previous. And then all other reported files, you'll see that our file count has been fairly steady. A couple of peaks and valleys, but pretty standard throughout the last several years. Next slide, please. Petty Trespass Act, peace officers can enforce Petty Trespass Act, which deals primarily with rural violators trespassing on vacant land. In 2023, we investigated 9 trespassing incidents within the MD. Additionally, community standards, which is the next slide, our officers responded to 27 unsightly property complaints in 2023 and mitigated all incoming complaints. Next slide deals with dogs. There were 1,018 licensed dogs in the MD last year, many more probably unlicensed throughout the MD. In 2023, Public Safety Department responded to 191 dog-related complaints and laid 57 charges under bylaws. 31 reports involved aggressive dogs that are attacking other dogs or people. So we've got some aggressive dog complaints coming in. Next slide is a presentation of what our SRO is doing. She delivered approximately 987 presentations, over 15,658 students in 2023. We service 23 area schools, 3 school divisions, in order to complete our mandate for 2023. The next slide is just a rendering of the schools that we do serve. And then the following slide are some of the services and some of the programs that we offer at the schools. And finally, the first quarter of this year, according to the provincial calendar, we're looking at these enforcement priorities for our officers: intersection safety in January, distracted driving in February, and seatbelt compliance in March. These are enforcement focuses that are established by the province and delivered to all law enforcement agencies throughout the province. We're not obligated to do this, but in the spirit of cooperation with the other law enforcement agencies, we do focus on these areas. And finally, just around the corner, we've got threat pattern recognition, which is sort of like an officer safety program that we deliver twice a year to our officers. We do one in March and one in October. So we've got that just around the corner. So if you see anybody walking around with a sling or on crutches, hopefully that doesn't happen. But that might explain why we've been doing a little bit of training in March. So you'll see some activity there.
Don't invite Al to your party.
And I'll take any questions.
Councillor Fadeev.
Yeah, yeah, my big question was in regards to the joint force operations. I mean, we've seen in the past a huge increase in the MD funds leaving for, you know, like our budget for policing the RCMP. Could you give me an example of the, you know, going last year, or not last year, but the year before, from 12 to 30? What additional aid are we giving them?
Well, through the REIV, I don't know if, to be clear, there's a difference between a JFO or joint force operation and a request for assistance. So when they request assistance, we score that in our records management system as assistance rendered. We don't score it as a joint force operation. So if they ask us to, you know, there's a collision, they want some traffic control, it gets scored a little bit differently. So that when we see a JFO, that's a bona fide, you know, someone's picked up the phone and called and said, hey, we're going to be doing this at this location, would you like to participate? So it's, I don't really see it as us giving resource away, but you know, as we do our work, we have the police there, they can help to protect us, and we can, you know, in that partnership, we can allow them to do some of their investigations, whether it's impaired driving or whatnot, and we can tailor more of our stuff towards some of the traffic stuff. So we sort of pick our battles when we're working with those folks and make sure that we're in compliance with the law and with what council's looking for us to do. It's a cooperation thing, safety thing as well. And it's also good for teamwork to have our officers know who's on the other side of the fence and the other teams and who's playing and that kind of thing. So it's a good thing all around for us. Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Reeve?
Question?
It's a comment, actually. The RCMP had a campaign about a week ago that Deputy Reeve Crick would be familiar with, because him and I actually went to the C2, and I'm just bringing up the comments about the initiative of the RCMP to hand out the steering wheel clubs, the steering wheel locks. And, you know, just thinking, man, that's a really great initiative. I don't know how they get that funded, but that may be something that the MD could kind of look at if we get funding for something like that. Because the Reeves truck hood hadn't have been stolen had he had one of the steering wheel clubs on it. And I just thought, you know, it's a great idea, right? So now I've got my club on my car out the back.
Through the Reeve, thank you for the comment. Yes, the issue of stolen vehicles is obviously it's all over the news. It's a very big problem here for us in the MD. I certainly don't think that you know, using a club is never going to be a bad thing. It doesn't look very pretty, but sort of inconvenient sometimes to have in your vehicle. But at the same time, you know, it's definitely going to deter somebody from breaking into your vehicle, and it's going to have, you know, have them go on to the next vehicle. So I have to give kudos where, you know, where they're due. It's a good program. I don't believe they had a whole bunch of these clubs to hand out. I think they might have had 4 or 5, and I don't know where they got the funding from. But you know, through council, we can make anything happen.
Thank you.
Just one comment on the club. I think it's just a false sense of security. I had a family member that got their vehicle stolen with the club on. All they did is they cut the steering wheel and popped the club out. You know, it's just signaling the wrong message saying that your vehicle can be stolen when it can. And I think it's just a waste of money.
All right, yeah. Go ahead, one more comment.
Interesting comment, but if there's 20 cars in the parking lot and, you know, the one with the club, they're not going to steal it. They're going to move on to the one that doesn't have, so. Unless it's a Lotus or something they want, I don't know.
All right, you have more to this report after we come back, correct?
The
Or-
report is finished,
You
Mr.
good?
Reeves.
So we
Yeah.
can make a motion and, no, we have more. That's right. Okay, we're going to take a break and then we have 10 o'clock, public hearing, no?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, let's take a quick break. Okay, welcome back. Before we begin with the public hearing for bylaw number LU 578, amending LU bylaw, I would like to remind those who wish to address any of the public hearing on today's agenda to register your name on the speaker's list at the entrance of council chambers. I would also like to outline the process to be followed for this public hearing. We will begin with a staff report from administration, followed by questions of administration from council. We will then call upon members of the public who wish to speak in support of the application, follow those who wish to speak in opposition of the application. Council may ask questions of the public presenter during this time only. Administration, as the applicant, will then be provided with opportunity to rebut anything they have heard or read in the opposition to the application, followed by questions from council only on information provided during the rebuttal. Finally, we will entertain any final questions of administration from council before closing the public hearing. May I have a motion to go into public hearing? Thank you, Councillor Fadeev, for making a motion to go into public hearing. I'll call for the vote. That's carried. Open hearing.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is a public hearing to consider the redistricting of portions of the northwest of 30 and the northeast of 30, 6105. The proposed application would redistrict the property from Agricultural District to Direct Control District Number 5, which is the Municipal District of Bonnyville Regional Airport District. This change is to ensure the properties near the Bonnyville Regional Airport are used for appropriate purposes that support the airport. The MD of Bonnyville is proposing the rezoning of the subject parcel. The current area of the portion of the northwest of 30 is approximately 47.58 acres. The current area of the portion of the northeast of 30 is approximately 30.1 acres. Bylaw number LU 578 was given first reading at the January 9th, 2024 council meeting.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, at this time, I'd like to announce that there has been no written submissions that have been provided in the agenda package. And at this time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone here that wishes to speak in support of bylaw LU 578. For the second time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone here who wishes to speak in support of LU 578. And for the third and final time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone here that wishes to speak in favor of bylaw LU 578. Okay, seeing no one here, at this time I'd like to ask if there's anyone in opposition of, who wishes to speak in opposition of bylaw LU 578. For the second time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone in opposition of bylaw LU 578. And for the third and final time, I wanted to ask if anyone wants to speak in opposition of bylaw LU 58. Seeing none, I'd like to close the public hearing. Need a motion to, yes. Thank you, Deputy Reeve Crick, for making a motion on closing the hearing on LU 578. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. That's carried. Thank you. On to 9.22 to finish it off. Thank you. Mr. Yons. Morning.
Morning, everyone. So I'll start off with the RFD. Environmental Protective Services Department 2023 fourth quarter report. Administration is presenting to council with the Environmental Protective Services Department quarterly reports for the months October, November, December. I will start it off today with Ag Services. The manager of Ag Services is out this week, so. Bless you. Okay, scroll down a little bit. So for pest control, first off, beaver reduction program. So just to touch base, regulations over the past several years for water control for beavers has changed quite drastically. Thanks. So our the way we used to do business was we were allowed to move water any time of the year except the wrap period. That was from approximately April 15th to July 1st. We didn't need any permits in that, and if we did have to move water by blasting and that, we'd have to get a special permit during that wrap period. Currently now we do have to go through a lot more red tape to get approval. So for 2023, for opening up dams, 76 dams are open mechanically, 26 with equipment, and then 4 by blasting. So previously, we were probably in the 20-30 dams by blasting, but that has changed. So the next graph trapped by the MD, that is beavers that were trapped by our staff. So in 2022, we had 192, and 2023 was 49. The beaver reduction program, these are the numbers that we have contractors or trappers that work for the MD. Part of our program. So in 2023, we seen 255 beavers removed. Next, in our coyote and wolf reduction program, 2022, we seen 367. In comparison, we had 650 last year in that program. In the wolves, we only seen 4 in 22, and in 23, we had 9 wolves come in. And currently we're sitting at, for this current season, approximately around that 650 coyotes and well over 20 wolves come in. So a little different year. On our rat control program, completed just about 1,100 site visits throughout that rat control zone in Saskatchewan. We currently still do get provincial funding for this program. Next, our roadside mowing program. So this is where all the MD right-of-ways were mowed twice a year. The second cut was done to the fence line. That's eliminating the brush and the weeds against the fence line. The program runs approximately from June 15th to ending in the end of October. Next was our subdivision hamlet mowing program. Again, it starts first week in June and will end in approximately middle of September. So 84 subdivisions are mowed twice, and the hamlets were completed 4 times. So that's approximately once a month. The MD entrance signs were also mowed monthly, airport as needed, and the MD shop and any of the other assets. Fence line clearing program. This is a program where we pay the agricultural or the landowners to do the brushing in the MD right away. So in 2022, we just spent over $20,000. In '23, we were upwards in that $23,000. So we pay up to $3,500 per half mile, clearing the ditch. Next, weed control and crop inspections. So weed inspections, we've seen an increase from 2022 up to just about 2,255, and then we have them broken down from well site to industrial, and then from private land. On the roadside and brush sprayed roads, so in 22 we've seen just over 500 kilometers sprayed. In 23 we've seen 1,500 kilometers sprayed with another 28 of. I'm not sure, that would have been actually probably fence line spraying of the 28 kilometers. Then we go on to weed notices. So in 22, we've seen 4 weed notices issued. In 23, we've seen an increase up to 12 weed notices issued. We do prefer to work with private landowners on education and trying to help them resolve the weed issues. Crop inspections, so this goes back to our club route. Dating back from 2015 up to 2023, so the last 2 years we haven't had any positive fields for club root. But what has happened in 2021 to 2022, our policy changed. From we were inspecting every canola field in 2021, in 2022 we changed our policy to just check 1 field per township. So it's approximately 15 to 20 inspections for club root a year. We've gone back to the farmers using their best management practices and doing their changing their seed to resistant seed, and then going to do crop rotation. Next is kind of the going through the equipment on how that is done, comparison from 2022 to 2023, and the rentals have increased from 251 in 22 to 427. The VSI program, this is the program where we assist producers with veterinary costs just on procedures. These are broken down into quarters and then also for animal units. So in amount of claims, there are 970 claims with just about 12,000 animal units done and expenditure of $113,000. Just a little bit of information on LARA. The MD continues to support the LARA program. They hosted 9 webinars and 4 in-person extension events, continue to promote their events and refer producers to the workshop and funding opportunities. We just recently have done a new drought brochure that'll be out in the mail this next week, and that'll be hopefully assist the farmers on where to get their information if they need any water license in that. Next would be the Bonnyville seed cleaning plant. So the inspection was held in November of this year. The plant passed with a score of 93%. And we also still continue to do our inspections there weekly. Little update on the Little Bear aeration project. The pumps were put in this past fall. Fencing was just done here in January to help out the ACA. Shelter Belt program. The program's ongoing, and we're just about to release next week the program for 2024. Also, Clean Farms Recycling, that's the ChemJug recycling program, is now completed at the Bonnyville seed cleaning plant. So this next year we'll be doing the remediation of that building and the site. So they'll be closing down, and everything will be going to private issuers and any of the ChemJugs. So, any question on the ag side?
Yeah, Mr. Fadeev.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Yance. So in regards to the ag part of it, have we come up with a drought mitigation plan at all, either through the ASB or through the MD? I know you're saying there were drought brochures, but any kind of major plans that we had? We've heard from the environment minister that of some concerns with lack of water and everything else.
Yeah. So right now, the step that the Ag Services Board has taken, we're going to promote all the federal and the provincial programs. Usually on the municipal side, there's not a lot of programs that we've done in the past. That's why we've kind of wanted to step up and make it known. There's a lot of loopholes or a lot of things that farmers will have to jump through if they want to do any, if they want to pump from one water body to another. We felt that our most assistance right now would be making sure that they know where to get that information and make it sure it's available to them. So that's why we made up this brochure. We're going to get into their hands here in the next week or two and make sure that they know who to phone and what they can do to help to mitigate the drought problem, because we are in the stage 4 of the stage 5 drought, as we all know. As we, I guess the spring comes and we hopefully get some runoff, that'll probably be it'll be probably sensitive time where I'm sure some producers will want to try and save as much water as possible. But we have to make sure that all that water goes downstream too. So we'll assist it where we can, but it really becomes a provincial issue, because any water is all provincial, federal.
So call your local ASB board.
We will assist and try to get the people the right information.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Councilor.
Okay, so the water issue is a concern for everybody. So are we working with industry on that too, like our gas and oil industry? Discussing with them, because I know they're sucking from a lot of dugouts and a lot of dugouts getting emptied.
Yeah,
And,
so our department doesn't work with industry at all. If there is any agreements between industry and local landowners, that would be between them privately. The municipality does not get involved. The only time the municipality would get involved, I believe, would be road use agreements, if they are using our roads and damaging that. But as far as I know, we don't have any authority in that.
I think that's something that we should be looking into and thinking about, the usage of water from our industry as well, because we need to grow our crops too, and the farmers, they water our cattle and livestock.
Yep,
So I think something that should be looked at.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Reeve, members of council. To Councillor Slipchuk's question, industry is regulated by the Alberta Energy Regulator. We have absolutely no say over what we can or can't, they can or can't do with water. Their water diversion licenses are provided by Environment and the AER. I would suggest that if council does have a concern, it might be value in writing the minister, or several of the ministers, Minister of Environment, Minister of Energy, a letter suggesting that industry needs to be looked at, but we have no ability. It's completely out of our jurisdiction to regulate water use in industry, but we could lobby the provincial government. So if council was interested in some kind of a letter to go to several of the ministers, absolutely, we could prepare something for the Reeve signature.
But if a landowner wants to dump it, take all his dugout water and take it away from his cattle, shouldn't that be his decision?
Yeah, and do it until they come and cry that they need help with water.
Well, they won't be, I don't think they come crying to us
But
for the water.
there's other options. They can instead of using all that water for some of these new wells they're drilling, they could go another route, which is more costly for them. But if we're concerned about water, there should be no cost.
But a person that needs their dugout and their water isn't gonna give up you wouldn't think they'd give up their water to drill a well, right?
Well, I believe some of them are, and hoping that we're gonna get the runoffs, but if we don't, then what?
Yeah, well, that's, like Al just said, it's not our, I don't know. Any other comment?
Mr. Reeve, no, it was just, you talked about it just now, but I was, because I don't know, like, so industry must have their agreements with landowners then, do they? Otherwise,
Sure
what?
they do.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
they
if you're drilling
can't.
a well on your land, they'll give you the first option to use your water, your dugout, wherever.
And same with Crown Land then, too, or how's that? I'm not
I
sure.
don't think on Crown Land, no.
I mean, I can see it could be an issue. I'm not sure how you deal with it, but.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of the provincial government giving, like, to pump out of lakes and stuff on a real, like, when's the last time you ever heard of the provincial government giving long time ago.
Yeah,
Forever.
it's unusual to give a temporary diversion license to out of a lake. They've done it for sloughs and that, but it's, I wouldn't say, I could see them doing it this year with the water shortage.
Yeah.
The problem that's gonna be is the piping, right? So Alberta Ag and irrigation, they do have pumps and piping to fill dugouts for a mile or 2 miles.
Yep.
Now you'll have to get the temporary diversion license to pump that water. You know, I think it all depends on water licensing and how much that creek or it's already licensed for.
Yeah.
So we've kind of asked those questions right now, and they say it's on a per case basis, how they make that judgment, so.
We could have a big snow in March and it'd be all go away. right?
Yeah, but, so that's why we're gonna provide that information to people now, so they can start investigating. If they have an area where they think they can pump from into their dugout, they should do all the legwork now. Do it in February and March, and then they're prepared, once we do get the runoff and to top up their dugouts and that, so.
Okay.
Mr. Reeve?
Yes, go ahead.
To your question, Mr. Reeve, water diversion license out over lakes are not unheard of. As a matter of fact, the MD, we have several of them. We do know, though, and as recently as Friday last week and yesterday, in letters we've received from Environment and from emails we received from the Ministry of Environment, the province is really clamping down on water diversion licenses. We have several large ones. We have one at the Cold Lake, obviously, for the ski hill, for snowmaking at the ski hill. We have several others for road operations. I think we have a diversion license. I believe it's at Mini Lake. Transportation could certainly correct me if I'm wrong, but we have several diversion licenses out of lakes. Whether they give those to private citizens, I don't know, but they are they're possible to get because we do have some. We do have some of our own. I think Mr. Yonz's advice, if a private citizen wants to get in a program or wants to get some applications and do it right away, because they're going to be inundated with applications for water diversion. And I know with the letter that we received from Minister Schultz here only probably 6 weeks ago indicates that the department will be really clamping down on water diversion. And in particular, the reporting thereof, they're getting very tight about the timelines for reporting, and any non-compliance in reporting has the risk of losing that diversion license itself. So I think Matt's advice is well taken, that get on it right away. If there's local farmers who think their dugouts are going to need filled up and they have some body of water that may be owned by the Crown nearby, get those applications in quickly.
We're going to have this in our review.
It's actually going to be a separate mail out. It didn't get in time for the review, so it'd be a separate mail out between ourselves and Lara, and then pointing out anything from any of the provincial grants that are out there for digging a well to a dugout to filling them up. So
Okay,
all the
thank you.
information.
Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you. Yes. Oh, yeah. Thank you. We have a delegation. Yeah. Thanks, Councillor Fadave. All right, at this time, we'd like to welcome Cold Lake Native Friendship Center, our delegation for 10:30. I apologize, sir. And ma'am?
It's okay.
Good morning. My name is Agnes Gendron. I'm the Executive Director at the Cold Lake Native Friendship Center. This is the first time I've ever gone through to this MD. And the reason why is we opened up a transitional home for men. In 1915, we opened up a shelter for men because they didn't have a shelter in Cold Lake area, 70-mile radius to the city of Cold Lake. And they had a women's shelter, but no men's shelter. And there was a lot of men that didn't have a home. And one story is this man got off the bus with his son in the middle of just about the end of October, and they didn't have a place to go to. The family was living 35 miles away, and they didn't know how to get home back to their community. So what he did was he laid down, they went in the bush, and he covered his son with his body to keep him warm through the night. And this is a true story about this man, and he that's how he kept his son warm through the night, and they survived the evening, the night, and they ended up at the Friendship Center. And there was a concern there about men not having any home. I know in our culture, in the culture, in the surrounding, men are supposed to be the caregivers and that, but things change. 1915, we rented a house and opened up a men's shelter in 2015. And we helped a lot of men come through our doors. Matter of fact, six of the men that went through our doors became security guards at the casino. And a couple of them went back to school, and they got their culinary arts. And some of them went home. We sent one guy home to Halifax and another guy back to Vancouver out of our own pockets. And the Friendship Center was using our bingo funds. We have a bingo slot at the Lakeland Bingo Association, and that's how we were supporting the men's shelter. We never got any money from the province or from the federal or any place. We did it under our own steam through working the bingos. And this is how, this is what's been happening. In March of 2020, a young guy with mental illness set fire to our men's shelter. But it must have been a blessing, because 2 days later, the whole province shut down for COVID. And we had to, from that time on, we had to rebuild. The city of Cold Lake was good enough to give us some land, and we rebuilt under our own steam. We got a mortgage of $420,000 to open up that new home that we have now. And it's transitional, because we don't allow drinking or drugging in the house. It has to be for men that are looking for a home in between jobs, and if they want to go back to school, if they want to do something that is productive in their lives, and we're giving them the chance to do so. And the reason why we come here is to ask for help, monetary help if possible, because we, like I say, we use our bingo money to pay for the manager. He's got security license, and we pay him through our bingo funds. And our utilities, everything, the food, everything is paid through our bingo funds. We don't have any monies coming in from anybody else. So I'm asking for your help, if possible, if there's anything that you guys can do. We belong to this MD, and the Cold Lake Native Friendship Center is a non-profit organization. When the house burned down, the people that own the bottle depot gave us a place to continue our men's shelter. But it wasn't a good place, so the men decided to open up a second-hand store to offset the cost for the men's shelter, and that's what we're operating on right now, too. So this is Zane Thane. He's the manager, and he'll give you more information.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Zane. I'm the manager of Cookham's Corner and Cookham's House. Like Agnes said, in 2015, there was no men's shelter in the MD of Bonnyville. The Cold Lake Native French Center started Cookham's House. It lasted for 5 years. In between that time, we had roughly 500 guys come in and out. We either got them tickets to go get jobs, or we shipped them off to wherever they went. We Halifax, British Columbia, that kind of thing. We got them jobs. The fire happened. We opened up Cookham's Corner to help cover the cost of building the new house, which is running today. What we did now is we have a transitional house, Cookham's House, and what we're doing is the homeless crisis and the addiction crisis. I don't know if everybody here in this room has somebody that's addicted or has addiction issues, and it's up to an individual to stop. So once they decide to stop, that's when we come in. We'll take them into the house. Once you go to rehab and you come out, you got a lot of different hurdles you got to face. And every time you hear a no, that's another reason to drink. So we take all the no's away. We help them get their tickets, their IDs, their bank accounts. We give them a living area where it's comfortable, and we get them to take value in their own life, because everybody, whether you're an addict or not, has accountability. And that's something that's missing a lot, is individual accountability in the addiction issue. So we started the house. We help guys get, like I said, get jobs, get ID, go to school, whatever that. We help them keep employed. A lot of guys have trades. We keep them busy. We built a food truck out of the old Cookham's House, so we keep them busy and that kind of stuff. It costs $125,000 a year just to operate the house. That's with the mortgage and everything else. So we're kind of asking for a little bit of help so we can offset, maybe hire more people and that kind of thing. The Cold Lake Native Friendship Center is instrumental in starting a lot of different associations in the area. They started the food bank in Cold Lake. They helped start the bingo association that helps a lot of different societies in their funding. They have a proven track record of being a leader in the community. So we're just basically asking for your help. I don't know, I'm kind of bungled because she wrecked my whole presentation, but if you got any questions, I guess we can take them.
I think you guys are doing okay. Yes, Councillor Scarson.
So the plans that are in here, so is this place already built? Like you have some floor plans in here?
Because I never done this kind of presentation before, I didn't know I had to take pictures every day. I'm gonna start doing that. But Cookham's House is already built. It's located at 4710 40th Avenue in Cold Lake, right by the stables in Cold Lake, at the Ag Center stables. We already have the house, we already have the mortgage, everything's in place. We already filtered through a few guys. So yeah, it's already built and in place and operational.
Cause you have so what's this other picture of this? Oh, this is the old one that burned down?
That's the old one. See, Cold Lake Native Friendship Center started the first homeless shelter for men in the area, right? And then all of a sudden, well, there's a few of them that are coming up now that are in there. But having the experience of the first house and realizing what the guys need and what homeless people need is, once you come out of an addictions issue or you're done your addiction, you need a place where you can get stabilized. And that's what Cookham's House, the new Cookham's House, is for.
Councillor Fadave.
Yeah, Zane, thanks for Zane gave me a tour of the place there not long ago with, we were there with Mr. Sear as well, and we were kind of having a boisterous conversation with him. So in regards to funding from the province, have you guys seen anything from that?
Our funding, well, being new to this kind of thing, funding from the province we don't get yet. We got a promise from Mr. Sear about putting proposals in or anything like that, but that's I don't.
So yeah,
it could possibly come, but I'm not holding my breath, because you can put 1,000 grants in and not get any. You could put 1,000 grants in and get 5, but that's just Right now, we're just operating on the store funds, and we volunteer in the bingo association I talked about. That's for the wages and whatnot. We apply for other grants and whatnot too, so.
Yeah,
But no provincial or federal money yet.
I was gonna ask council, you know, if they would give me the opportunity to try to meet up with the indigenous minister, so he can help out with the mental health side, because this is it's a phenomenal program. Their garage is used as a workshop. They have tools in there to, if you can explain that.
Yeah, well, so when you're sitting around and you're trying to figure out what to do, it takes a long time. I have a little saying, it takes 30 seconds to waste your life. It takes a long time to build it. So when you're sitting around, you got something to do. We have guys in there working on cars. We got mechanical tools. Like I said, we built a food truck in the old house. I kind of have a little background in construction and mechanics, so I just get the guys that have their trades, or, you know, if they're a welder, I get them welding something or something like that, just to keep them occupied, keep them busy, and keep them focused on their main goal is to get them better. So, like I said, I'm kind of jumbling it all up into 30 seconds because I was told to be quick, but I could talk about it for hours, and I'm just.
I just have one more question before I'll look. I know your story, and if you don't mind sharing your story with council.
Okay, so I'm a recovering drug addict. I was in Nayton in '98 for construction engineering. I went to a party, I sat on a bench, and someone was taking a puff of crack. And as I sat down, someone called my name, they blew it out, and I turned my head and I started my crack. I call it a career or whatever. It's 15 years on the streets. 2014, I came to Cold Lake First Nations. I dried up on the long trailer. It's a homeless shelter in Cold Lake First Nations. And then in December of 2014, Agnes Gendron put me up in a hotel because I was doing my tickets, trying to stay away from the city. I grew up in Edmonton. I was trying to stay away from the city. I was getting my tickets, trying to get myself together so I could do more than just what I was doing. And then a month later, in January of 2015, there was a meeting at the Cold Lake Native Friendship Center about homelessness, and there was no MAT program or nothing, so I asked Agnes if we could start a MAT program, and that's basically how Cookham's House started, really. I've been straight or clean ever since 2014, but it's not about me, it's about what Cookham's House does. So yeah, that's me.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing with us.
No worries.
Yeah, Councilor, sorry, Deputy Reeve.
Oh, sorry. Well, thanks for coming in and sharing, and it sounds like you guys are doing a lot of great work with the men that come through the shelter. You had said that 125,000 is you're operating for the year.
Yeah.
And do you have like your financial documents or?
Well, see, once again, my first time doing this, I just see these other guys got their laptops. I got a bunch of notes on a paper. I didn't write down any numbers. I just think of it in my head and what we go through. But yeah, so if you think about the mortgages at 3,500, you got my wage is 50K. You got food at least $1,000 a month, and then you got power at roughly $500-600. It turns out to be about 100. I could get you that. That's not an issue. It's just I didn't. My whole thing is selling Cookham's House and not putting it together because. Yeah. What I didn't mention is Cookham's House has a structure, okay? So it has rules. It's not a lawless place where you come in there, you do whatever you want, you're out and gone. We hold accountability. You know, if you're gonna say it, you're gonna do it, and if you don't, you're gonna go back to doing what you did before. And a lot of people on the streets respect that. Like I like Cold Lake, people from Bonnyville come there. Everybody comes there. We're the only transition house in operation in this whole area in the northeastern Alberta. So I never thought about writing down the numbers. I just.
Sorry. Yeah. So there are some numbers there for us on Appendix A on about the third page in. It kind of shows a breakdown. I think that's the one that's talking about $3,000 a month rent and.
Well, yeah, that was yeah. So when we broke that down, it's $3,000 a month for the mortgage, or $3,500, whatever it is now. We got wages, and the fact that I can't work 24 hours a day is what we're trying to get operational costs for, so we can supplement another guy coming in. We have a store. We started, when the fire happened, we started Cookham's Corner. Cookham's Corner is a thrift store in Cold Lake that we keep it, I don't know. I keep the lowest prices in town because not everybody's rich, and it helps a lot of low-income people. So, I don't know if you guys are thrifters, but if you go around town, some people think they're selling brand new stuff. We keep it all cheap and affordable. If a family comes to us and says, hey, we're just new in town, we have nothing, we're more likely just to load up a truck or a trailer full of furniture and give it to them free, that kind of stuff, so, yeah.
Mr. Reeve, just one last one for me. I think funding-wise, you haven't showed any kind of income, so you're obviously looking through provincial grants, federal, whatever. You're going to go to the city of Cold Lake, I would assume, and try them.
We have been to the city of Cold Lake. They sold us the land we're on for the building for $1 for 80 years, so we have that issue, that money. We keep applying for grants, but being new to this, once again, we don't know. When you're asking for wages, you're not allowed to ask for wages, but you're allowed to ask for operational costs or programming costs or stuff like that. So being new to this, it's kind of, we get told we know a lot, but we have Mr. Sear with his promises about asking for provincial help. We're going to continue to look for federal help, any kind of help we can get. Like, if you look at it as a circuit, you're just one stop on our circuit.
Yes, Councillor Sipchik?
Yeah, first I'd like to say congratulations on your recovery, but the First Nations communities, are they all contributing? They're assisting you guys with all this too?
The original Cookham's House burnt down. Right now, First Nations is more, they help the John Howard Society. John Howard Society is a wet drop-in center, homeless shelter, and they gave their money to them, so she can answer more than that on that than I can. We got their support. They like what we're doing. Everybody likes what we're doing. It's just when it comes to supporting, everybody says, well, that's just not us. That's just not us. So that's where we're at.
I noticed you had a letter there from Synovus, letter of support. Do they contribute?
Yeah,
for you?
yeah, so Synovus, when they shut down a camp or something, they will call me up and organize whatever they're donating. Say they're donating 60 beds. They call us up, and then we give a certain percentage away for free to First Nations communities or whoever needs a bed, and then the rest we sell in the store. So they do support us. We just have to go through that avenue. And like I said, there's so many different people asking for money. It's when you're new to it, it's kind of hard.
So another question I got is, with all your clients that you deal with there, what kind of success rate do you guys have achieved, and what's the time process you see, average process of recovering and getting a person back on his feet?
Okay, so we take, what we're focusing on now is taking them straight out of rehab, so they're already in the process of being recovered, and we've had guys, like my Agnes said, that we had guys that have gone on to get jobs at the casino, get their own place. Once we get them out of the thought process of being an addict and doing all that and getting past all the no's, we have, I'd say at least 20, 30 guys that are living, that I know of, living on their own. We've got, I don't know, countless guys' jobs with Primco, Dene, Synovus, all that kind of stuff. Once we get their tickets and stuff and they go, we don't really see them. They just once in a while come back and volunteer for the bingo or say thank you. So.
And I'm sure we'd all be in agreement with this comment I got to say, is that each one that we take off the street is a reduction in crime as well.
Well, that's
but
it,
that's
right?
not just the factor. Factor is we're supposed to lift people up, and I really like your comment on the thing here. The only time you should look down on someone is to pick them up. I think that's,
that's
a wonderful.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like I'm not sure who has any experience with addiction, but if the person's not ready to get clean and clean up their act, you can throw them into a rehab 20 times. And the next thing they're gonna do is run to the drink and run to the drink. So, especially if you're heard no, like a lot of, like nowadays, you need picture ID to get your birth certificate. You need your birth certificate and your Alberta healthcare card to get a bank account. So as soon as you hear the first no, that's one reason to drink. And then you go to the welfare system and they say, okay, well, you need your ID, you need this, you need a bank account, you need a working email, you need all this just to get social assistance so you can try to get a place, and most of that is no. So Cookham's House, we take the no's away and we encourage, like I said, it's a clean environment. We encourage them to go the route they want to go. A lot of people, a lot of people may not be able to do what I did, go to a trailer in a different town, in a different city, and just dry out and say, okay, enough's enough. But I was never brought up to be an addict, right? I was never brought up to that kind of thing. So the longer you care, and as long as they're making progress to their goal of being clean and well and getting out, the time they stay at Cookham's House is really, it's not time. They can stay as long as they want, or they could go unused and stay as short as it has to be, right? Like but it's just a productive way of doing it. I lived on the streets for 15 years. I've had a brother, lived on the streets for 25 years, so I kind of know what it takes and the attitude they have and the fact that as long as you have somebody that cares and they show they care, you're gonna try and make them proud or do something, right? So.
Well, thank you. I'll pray that the good Lord gives you wisdom in this and strength.
Councillor Fadave?
Just, go ahead, Agnes.
I just wanted to add that when we opened up the men's shelter, we have bingos every so often, and we have, Zane had all the guys volunteering at the bingo. And we could see their self-esteem go up as they mingled with the bingo players and that. And their self-esteem just rose up, and every time there was some kind of a program happening in the city, they'd volunteer, they'd be security guards for functions that were happening in the city. And the one thing that I want to stress is we don't babysit these guys. We don't have somebody looking after them while they have to do the cleaning, the washing, the cooking, everything in the house. Nobody's there to babysit them. They're the ones that are going to take control of their home environment and to take good care of it. And the old house was just spotless. You'd swear there was about 10 women in that house looking after that place. It was just spotless in that house. And we provided the food so they didn't have to worry about the food. And it was just marvelous the way it happened, and it was down, our hearts broke when the fire happened, and we lost one guy from smoke inhalation. He was epileptic, and I think he had a seizure during that time that he was trying to escape from the building. And he was just a marvelous man. He was volunteering in that at the bingo, and his name is Les Clausen. And I still have tears, losing that fella. He was just a marvelous guy. And so these are the things that are happening. We did go to RDN for money, but I don't like the way the RDN operates. The federal government gave them a whole pile of money for homelessness, and how they operate is that you have to spend your own money and then send them the bills and that, and then they send you the money to recover what you had spent. Well, if you don't have money to spend, how can you do that? And I don't like their way of doing things. the federal government gives them a whole pile of money. Why don't they share it with all the shelters within the system, eh?
Yeah, well, that's not
that's
our-
one of the things that I that's why I don't go to RDN for funding.
All right, any final questions, gentlemen? Well, thank you, both of you, for coming out and doing this presentation
I
today.
just wanna add, next time I'm here, I'm gonna have Appendix A to Z. Thank you for your time.
I think you did very well. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
All right, I'm just looking for a motion now.
I'd like to make a motion, one, that bring back for future meeting of council for consideration.
All right, thank you, Councillor Slipchik, for making a motion on behalf of council. That council accepts the presentation by Cold Lake Native Friendship Center as information and directs administration to bring back additional information regarding their request for a letter of support and funding support to a future meeting of council for consideration. Any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. That's carried. Thank you. You guys have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Mister with the nice blue shirt and the red tie, you're up.
Good morning, Council.
Good morning.
I'm here to present the fourth quarter report for the Waste Services Department. I'll let it get brought up there. There we go. So starting off, here's a list of landfill visitors to each of the sites during the fourth quarter. Ardmore, which is now open Tuesday through Saturday, saw 2,025 visits, down 27.1% from quarter four last year. This can be explained by the new automated gates coming online October 3rd, creating the requirement for a waste utility account for the users of the site. Goodridge, which is open Friday and Sunday, saw 291 visits, up 3.4% from quarter four last year. Hilda Lake, which is open Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday, saw 912 visits, down 13.7% from quarter four last year. Once again, in quarter four, this is likely explained by the opening of the Riverhurst bin site this past June. So residents of that area were able to just use the bin site instead of take all their household waste to Hilda Lake. LaCorey, which is open Tuesday through Saturday, saw 1,464 visits, up 10.5% from quarter four last year. Muriel Lake, which was open Wednesday and Sunday in October, saw 100 visits, down 43.2% from October of 2022. And Therian, which is open Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, saw 822 visits, up 11.2% from quarter four of 2022. With the Beaver River Regional Waste Management Commission, waste hauling continued as scheduled to the Waste Management Landfill in Thorhild County. We shipped 30 loads of Class 2 municipal solid waste in quarter four for a combined 728 tons, which was up 6.5% from quarter four last year. In total for the year, we shipped 3,032 tons, which was only down 6 tons from 2022. The Cold Lake Landfill waste account has been well received with both MD residents as well as the City of Cold Lake landfill staff. As of December 31st, 210 accounts had been registered to use the landfill for dropping off their household waste, which was up 17 from quarter three. With the 2024 Alberta Care Fall Conference scheduled to be hosted by the MD of Bonnyville in September, we have begun and completed much of the planning already to host the estimated 150 attendees. Operations and landfill staff have continued with site inspections of our bin sites and landfills on a minimum quarterly basis. We strive to complete these monthly to help ensure our sites are safe and effective for staff and residents. In October, the Beaver Dam bin site was expanded to give the garbage trucks and the public more room to turn around and therefore avoid backing onto the range road, thereby eliminating a safety concern for our operators, which occurred multiple times per week. The automated gate system was installed at the Ardmore landfill in September, and it came online October 3rd and has been working well. Most people that visit the site are registered users with a no cost to them waste utility account. As of December 31st, we had registered 1,150 proximity cards and 352 smartphone app accounts for the site. In October, I gave a presentation to the grade 4 classes at Notre Dame Elementary School in Bonnyville and Nelson Heights School in Cold Lake on the realities of waste and recycling in our area. The week after the presentations, the classes came for a tour of the Ardmore landfill so they could see our operation in person and what we do to minimize our environmental impact and make sustainable yet smart economic decisions in the best interest of our ratepayers. In total, 135 students received the presentation and tour from the two schools. In November, we rented a shredder from Western Waste Solutions to test the use case of shredding bulky waste and wood at our landfills to save valuable landfill space and eliminate the risk of burning our clean wood waste. We shredded some bulky waste at the Corey landfill and ran into equipment problems with the shredder. We then shredded wood waste in the Public Works yard and at the Ardmore landfill. We concluded that this particular style of shredder was not what we wanted to use going forward. In December, we registered for the Extended Producer Responsibility Program with the Alberta Recycling Management Authority, or ARMA. Last fall, there was a series of engagement sessions with the Producer Responsibility Organization, or PRO, that will help us in the transition to this new program. We have recently begun meetings with a company called Circular Materials, who is the PRO for plastic, paper, and packaging materials, which includes glass and tin cans. In these meetings, we will be working out the details for how the program will operate and how we will be compensated. The program is scheduled to begin April 1st of 2025 for municipalities who registered last fall. And this does include the City of Cold Lake and the Town of Bonnyville, which is important for us to maintain our recycling operations. And that's all for me.
Thank you. Any questions? I'd leave with that.
Okay, thanks, guys.
So with that, the fourth quarter of 2023, Environmental Protective Services. So administration is recommending that council accepts the Environmental Protective Services 2023 fourth quarter report as information.
Thank you. Councillor Fadеев?
I'll make that
Motion. Thank you, Councillor Fadеев, for making the motion on behalf of council. That council accepts the Environmental and Protective Services 2023 fourth quarterly report as information. Any discussion on this, gentlemen? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. That's carried. Thank you. On to 9.3.1. Morning again.
Good morning. So administration received an application from a landowner who purchased a lot at Vezo Beach in the summer of 2023 to close, cancel, sell, and consolidate a portion of the adjacent government road allowance. Range Road 463, east of Plan 132, 2699, Block 1, Lot 1, and south of Moose Lake, as depicted in Appendix A. The Municipal Government Act grants the municipality the ability to request the closure of a road. A landowner interested in requesting a road closure must contact their municipal office to make the request to initiate the process. The government road allowance proposed for closure currently provides a buffer between the intensive recreation zoning of the MD of Bonnyville, Vezo Beach Campground, and the country residential zoning within the southeast of 9, 61 of 6. It also contains a portion of the municipal Moose Lake trail system, which does require adequate space adjacent to the trail surface for snow removal and removal of any other debris. The existing road allowance also allows for public non-lakefront landowners and Vezo Beach MD Park users access to Moose Lake. It provides a hand-launching location for non-motorized watercraft such as canoes, kayaks, and paddleboards. Additionally, the access point to Moose Lake has the capacity to be further developed lakefront access point should the municipality choose to do so in the future. The portion of the government road allowance requested to be closed and sold has an estimated fair market value of $205,000 as per the MD Property Assessment Department report we received December 12th of 2023. This application was presented at the January 9th council meeting, and it was tabled for more information, and it was then presented at the January 16th committee of the whole meeting. Attached as Appendix C are maps showing the historical development of the area. So surveying around Moose Lake of the townships, ranges, and road allowances was completed in 1902, as shown on the first map of Appendix C, as part of the Dominion Land Survey north-south road allowances, which are called range roads, were created every mile apart, and east-west road allowances, township roads, every 2 miles apart. The second page shows a survey of 25 lakefront lots at Vezo Beach, which was registered in 1962. In 1966, 14 backlots were registered, with the only access to the lake for these lots being the end of each of the original 1962 survey. In 1995, the landowner of the parcel in question at that time had requested the closure and purchase of a small portion of this road allowance, approximately 2 meters wide. The reason for this was to bring the development into conformance as the residence was encroaching onto the road allowance. A bylaw was passed by council and approved by the Minister of Transportation. It is my understanding that the last step of this original closure in 1995 to register land titles was either forgotten or overlooked. So it was brought back to the MD's attention in 2012 when it was processed, and that portion of the road allowance was consolidated into the parcel in 2013, as you can see on Survey Plan 1322699. The final map is for clarification, showing the proposed area to close and the building envelope that does exist. As the area proposed for closure, sale, and consolidation is currently utilized for various purposes, including acting as a buffer between residential and recreational areas, providing access to the lake for non-waterfront residents, should that be campers or the backlot owners, as well as serving as a space adjacent to the existing trail for maintenance of the trail system. From a planning perspective, closing this road allowance might not be the most prudent decision. It's crucial to recognize that once we sell lands, they are gone and not easily recoverable if we should require them in the future. What we are looking to determine today is if council would be willing to dispose of this portion of the road allowance, or do they see a value in these lands for the municipality or for its residents? At the January 16th committee of the whole meeting, the committee did recommend that council deny the application to close, cancel, and sell and consolidate this portion of the government road allowance. I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you. Looking for a motion?
Yeah, we discussed this in length. There's some concerns about, snow storage or trails that are right by it and everything else, and the sale and just the access for people later on, if they ever want it, if they find that, Vezo Beach is too busy. There's also another option for them from the campground. And, I'm definitely in favor of option number 1, and I'd like to make that motion that council denies the application to close, cancel, and sell the road allowance.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Fideo, for making a motion on behalf of council. That council denies the application to close, cancel, sell, and consolidate a portion of government road allowance, Range Road 463, east of the plan 1322699, Block 1, Lot 1, and south of Moose Lake. Any discussion on this motion? Yes, Councillor Slipchuk.
I got a question. That there lot that's, we're showing there, down the road we can, because it's good access for the campsite and all that, to have that, but down the road we could even put a fence in there, I think, for secured people, for campers, for secure their boats or anything down the road if we need be? Would still be able to, like, are we able to fence it off if we want it?
Just to understand your question, you're looking, we can fence off the road allowance?
Yeah.
Yes, we definitely could fence off the road allowance.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, just keep this in our possession here.
Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. This is carried. Thank you. On to 932, I believe.
So bylaw number 1852 is a roadway licensing bylaw. Administration is seeking approval for this bylaw, authorizing the MD of Bonnyville into an agreement to license the road allowance north of the north half of 3658 of 8, in accordance with policy number 3A-018, as shown on the map in Appendix B. The applicants have applied to license this road allowance to be used as for an agricultural use for grazing of cattle. A copy of the application to license was provided to Infrastructure Services and Agricultural Services to review and recommendation, and there was no concerns. Therefore, administration is recommending that council give first reading to bylaw number 1852.
Thank you. Looking for a motion for this bylaw? Yes, thank you, Deputy Reeve Crick, for making a motion on behalf of council that bylaw number 1852 being a bylaw of the Municipal District of Bonneville, number 87, roadway license be given first reading. Any discussion on this? Yes,
Yeah,
Councillor
Mr.
Swager.
Just a question about it being in, if half the road allowance is in St. Paul County, is it, or is it not? I'm not sure.
Probably we're just doing our piece, no?
Through the Reeve to Councilor Swager, the road allowance is actually in the Municipal District of Bonnyville, but the property to the south is in the County of St. Paul.
Oh, okay, so it's our road allowance.
Correct.
Thank you.
Take that line and say.
Any other discussion, gentlemen? I'll call for the vote. Trying to get one on St. Paul, eh? That's carried, thank you, gentlemen. On to 9.33.
So bylaw number 1858 is a roadway licensing bylaw. Administration is seeking approval for this, authorizing the MD of Bonnyville to enter into agreement to license the road allowance west of the northwest of 20 and the southwest of 29, 65 of 3, in accordance with policy 3A.018, as shown on the map in Appendix A. Bylaw number 1858 is a renewal of an existing road allowance lease bylaw number 1678, which expired in December of 2020. The applicants have applied to license the road allowance to be used for access to Imperial Oil Nabier project. Council did give first reading at the December 12th, 2023 meeting of council. Public notification was completed as per the licensing of roadways policy and the MD public notification bylaw, with no concerns received. So administration is recommending that council give second reading to bylaw number 1858, and furthermore, if carried, to proceed to third reading.
Thank you. Looking for second reading for bylaw number 1858. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Swager, for making a motion on behalf of council that bylaw number 1858 being a bylaw of the Municipal District of Bonneville, number 87, roadways and licensing, be given second reading. Any discussion on this, gentlemen? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. That's carried. Thank you. Looking for third reading. Thank you, Councillor Fideev, for making a motion on behalf of council that bylaw number 1858 be given third reading. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. That's carried. Thank you. On to 9.3.4.
Thank you very much.
Have a great rest of the day.
Good morning, Council.
Morning, Esther.
First today, I have two previous delegations to bring back for your consideration. Our first one is the Bonneville and District Chamber of Commerce delegation request that was made back on January 9th, regular meeting of council, where they made a presentation requesting support for their recent advocacy efforts and to expand the MD's standard annual chamber membership purchase to include becoming a root level tree sponsor in recognition of their 75th anniversary. Their first request for the letter of support, the chamber is requesting a letter from the MD in support of a letter they emailed to the Honorable Rick McIver, Minister of Municipal Affairs, back on December 5th, 2023, requesting approximately $5.3 million for a proposed emergency grant to aid small businesses in rural Alberta affected by the current crime epidemic. Attached for council's reference in Appendix A is a copy of this correspondence. The second request is regarding our annual membership with the Chamber. To date, the MD has been recognized as a platinum member of the Chamber at the silver membership rate of $2,014, considering our many years of support. The platinum rate is normally $3,500. The MD has also provided an annual $15,000 operating grant to the Chamber through our current policy 3C.011. This year, the Chamber is asking the MD to consider adding a sponsorship of their 75th anniversary tree wall in their new office location at one of the following level options. There's a $7,500 root level, which includes an annual membership fee at a platinum level, $750 branch level, or $175 leaf level. Attached for council's reference are Appendix B, C, and D referencing this request. Costs and source of funding, cost options. We currently do have $2,014 in our budget for our usual membership fee. If council wishes to go with a branch level or a leaf level, that would be an additional either $750 or $175, or alternatively, the $7,500 root level sponsor. Our source of funding for the overage over the $2,014 would be sourced from the 2024 council operating budget, specifically the grants to industry and non-government organizations that has not already been allocated. Just to confirm, the balance on that is $41,000 of the larger budget allocation. Communication strategy is the Chamber will be notified in writing of council's decision today, and administration's recommended action is at council's discretion with options listed as well.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Fadеев.
So just for clarification, this is over and above the $15,000 that we're supporting them with already? So this is $15,000 plus $7,500?
Through the Reeve, yes, that is correct. The $15,000 is totally separate from this request.
And that's separate to the oil and gas show as well?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, Deputy Reeve.
Yeah, I just got it. What do we give the Cold Lake Chamber of Commerce every year?
Through the Reeve, it's very similar. We have our annual membership fee, which is right around the $2,000 mark. Plus, they also have the option to apply and receive the $15,000 operating grant.
Okay.
Yep.
So there's two separate requests here, like looking at the council options. So I'll just go in order here. Request number one, that's for the regarding the letter of support, right?
Yes.
And I do have some concerns about that letter that's written there, asking for security cameras for private businesses. To me, that just seems like that should be a business expense, not a ask for public money funds. So I'll make a motion that we just receive that as information, that letter. that's option one, I think, for in the options there.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Reeve Crick, for making a motion on behalf of council. The council accepts the request by the Bonneville and District Chamber of Commerce for a letter of support regarding the current advocacy efforts as information. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Any discussion on this?
Yeah, Mr.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Councillor Scarson, then Councillor Swaggart.
So just to be clear, to support a letter, like to say yes to the letter of support, is that what you're saying? Or to
Just
say this
to
is
receive the
information?
request as information. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to go through that letter.
Yeah.
But it's asking for, and it's very well intended. There's a lot of crime in the area. They're wanting, I'll bring it up here, have a look. They're asking for, basically for us to lobby the government to give some statistics, how Bonnyville has the worst, basically non-violent crime rates in Alberta, which is unfortunate. Towards the end of the letter, they're asking for a grant from the, I think, provincial government, and the grant would cover annual expenditure of up to $8,500 per business, amounting to a total of $3,400,000 for up to 400 businesses. Oops. And so, well, I think the cause is great. I just don't know if it's really, to me, I can't support asking for a letter for money to go directly to businesses.
Councillor Swaggart? Yes, Councillor Swaggart?
Yeah, there's so many small businesses out there that are shutting down because of the real crime. And I think any support we can give them is you know, that we should be doing it. I just talked to a business in Cold Lake that, you know, they've got people with machetes now coming in and just walking out with stuff, and they're coming in with guns and walking out with stuff. And they're shutting down. And so I don't want to say we're not going to support it just because you don't think that, you know, they're using the money appropriately. There's a lot of these companies, a lot of these small businesses need the help. I don't know, but I'd hate to say that we're not going to try to support it somehow.
Yes, go ahead.
Through the Reeve to Councillor Swaggart, if I thought this putting security cameras up and doing these measures would actually eliminate the crime, I'd be all for it. But it even says right in there that it's just a Band-Aid solution. And like I said, it's a great idea, great cause, but it's our justice system that's broken, and that's what needs to happen. People are getting caught and getting released the same day and getting caught again, so it's not gonna solve anything.
Councillor Scarson, then Councillor Slipchuk.
So when I think about this letter of support, I think about, you know, the saying no to it as opposed to saying yes to it, and the good and the bad that comes from it. I don't understand how a letter of support is a bad thing in any way, to be honest. I mean, saying yes to a letter really doesn't change anything from our stance, so I don't understand the logic for denying a letter of support, so it's just my opinion.
Thank you. Councillor
They,
Slipchuk.
I know cameras, they're not going to stop the crime, but they probably help deter it, and nobody knows for sure. But I don't see no why we're not going to support trying to get help in that. And insurances and everything's going up for all the business owners. We gotta show our support and we gotta try something. If we wait till the justice corrects their stuff, we'll be here forever.
Yes, Councillor Fadеев.
Yeah, I kind of concur. I mean, it's just, I would rather see the allocation of the funding go towards something like hiring more prosecutors and everything else. The cameras, you know, Councilor Swaggart was speaking about the business in Cold Lake. They have security film, which I installed for them. They have roll shutters, they have cameras, they have all that stuff, and they're still getting broken into. I think, you know, like Band-Aid solution of just having cameras on is just not the answer. You know, we as a business owner in Cold Lake, you take the precautions, but nothing stops it. And I mean, you know, we just heard from the Cold Lake Friendship Center, Zane, I mean, these people they need a fix. They're looking for the next fix. They'll rob anybody for anything. I mean, it happens on a regular basis. People were, hiding out in staircases and broke into Hearts for Healthcare in Cold Lake. I mean, it's just, is the camera going to do it? I mean, you have locked doors. You know, you have staircases, you have security, and they still got in there. It's a solution that needs to get bitten hard, and I think this is not the answer.
Mr. Reeve?
Sorry, yeah, Mr. Hogan.
Thank you, Mr. Reeve, members of the council. I'm not, for a moment, going to suggest this isn't a good program. That'll be entirely up to council to determine. I think the question at a higher level is the letters of support that get written to council. There's only so much money coming from the provincial government. And if council believes that the $4 million ish that this program would receive from the government is worth it, that's entirely council's purview. I would suggest, however, though, that some thought needs to be given to where that money from the provincial coffers, that money is going to come from, because that may impact another grant program that the MD may not receive. Maybe it's Highway 28, maybe it's bridge funding, maybe it's something else. So when we're sending off letters of support, I would just encourage council to consider the priorities of those things, because that it's not an unlimited supply of grant money coming from the province. And any money you get for one thing is coming from someplace else. They're just not going out and borrowing more money or making more money. So I just suggest that if this is a priority of council's, absolutely, but understand that there is a downstream impact to that, and that may be not receiving a grant for something else that may be important to council as well.
Yep, Councillor Fideev.
Yeah, I seen the letter to the minister from the Bonnyville Chamber of Commerce about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and it showed a bunch of CCs. So it appeared to look like, we're in support, but it was just a CC. It was just, I don't know, is that a good enough information that everybody is aware of it, or do we need to write a letter of support? I know the ministry is aware of the letter, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, Councillor.
Mr. Reeve, yeah, the perception, though, that sends everybody in the MD, if we refuse this, what are we saying? Like, rural crime to me is way more important right now than even, some of the road projects or whatever. Like, people are, we're going to have nothing here soon. All these businesses are going to be gone. Like, we have to do something, and I hate to, and it's not even costing us anything. I don't think we want to refuse a letter of support.
Councillor, Deputy Reeve, quick.
Thank you, Reeve. We're not here to just send an appearance to the members of the MD of Bonnyville. If it's not actually going to solve the problem, then why are we doing it? And it does cost money, because it costs taxpayers money. And as CAO alluded to, there's only so much money in the provincial coffers for whatever we want to do. And yeah, we need to get the justice system fixed. Right now we have a federal government that's eliminating mandatory minimum sentences to try and put race equality in our prisons, and it's just completely ludicrous what our federal government's doing, and that's where our problem lies. Putting up cameras to get pictures of people committing the crimes isn't going to solve it.
Yes, Councillor Scarson.
Yeah, well, you make it sound as though that if we say no to this letter of support, that the provincial government's going to say, oh, well, the MD of Bonnyville said no, so we're going to take this money back and spend it on the justice system instead. If they're handing out a grant, they're handing it out to somebody, so why not us? I don't understand.
This isn't just a grant handing out. This is a letter specifically crafted here, requesting money, requesting a new grant to be made, as far as if I'm understanding it correctly. So I think the idea is great, and to the people at the chamber that put the work into this letter, I think that's great. I'm super happy that they're trying to work on this issue of the crime. I just don't think it's the right way to go about it. That's all.
Yes, Councillor Fideev.
I think if this was I'm not saying this is, I got to watch my words, but this should have been a request gone to the Alberta Chamber of Commerce to, if this is the issue we all have, greater voice from from the Chamber of Alberta with all the backing from all the, I guess, members, would have been a stronger voice versus just from here. And I think this initiative should have been discussed on the, on the Alberta side, the Alberta Chamber of Commerce side, and would have been some great discussion that way. Having sat on the chamber before, I know that that's any kind of initiatives we did to get a higher level and to get the province to notice it was done on provincial level.
Thank you, Councillor Swaggart.
Mr. Reeve, so what I'd suggest we do then is we'll write our own letter of support to back this with the kind of changes that Councillor Fadeb is mentioning. And I agree, it's, you know, the cameras isn't the solution. It's the judges and the courts and everything else. But let's write a letter of support anyway, but with those comments.
Any other discussion, or? I read this motion already, I think. It's been a while ago. So let's vote on this, and then if you guys want to go a different way, we can. Okay, that's carried.
Mr. Reed, could we maybe make another motion to write our own letter of support with the comments that Deputy Reed would like in it?
Can we take like a 5-minute break before we make this discussion?
I think so. Me too.
Right on. Esther, we have one more?
Yes. Mr. Reeve, we're looking for a response to their second request, which is just clarity on if council would like to approve a contribution to their 75th anniversary tree wall or to maintain our current membership as is.
Okay, any discussion on this, or anyone like to make a motion? Yes, Councillor Swaggart.
Just my comments. You know, celebrated 75 years, and it's unfortunate, but you know they have a root level, and that's kind of what the MD is. But I guess I'd be in favor of supporting the root level sponsorship.
Comments so far? Any other comments?
What's the motion?
No motion yet.
Okay.
We're just discussing about funding for the full tree or the branch or a leaf kind of thing, right? Is that correct?
That's correct.
And your thoughts? We just started.
I think, you know, something that we should have talked about at budget. I mean, it's, we're sponsoring them at 15,000 plus the oil and gas show, and then plus the 75. I mean, it's, I think we said no to this request last year. I think it was, like it came up, and I don't know what, didn't come up last year as well?
Through the
Request?
Reeves, not this specific program. However, there was one report to council where there was 3 or 4 requests.
Right.
At the same time, yes.
And this is one of them.
Tree sponsorship, no, actually, just because their 75th was last year. However, they didn't, during her delegation presentation, she apologized because they didn't get it out until the end of December, early January. So they were a little bit behind on this one specifically, but there was 4 or 5 other requests last year that we did receive.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think everybody's quiet on this one.
Yeah.
Guess I'll make a motion that we accept this as information.
All right.
Mr. Reeve, question?
Yes.
So the image they've sent us, are those valid, like Town of Bonneville is a branch level supporter?
Through the Reeve, I don't believe so, because we're already listed in there and we haven't procured anything at this time.
Sorry, where were we listed?
I think we're, just 1 second.
Oh, sorry, we are, right next to the branch level.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. We have a motion by Councillor Fadeev on behalf of council that council accepts the request by the Bonneville and District Chamber of Commerce regarding their 75th anniversary tree wall sponsorship program as information. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. That's carried. Thank you.
Thank you. Second follow-up request I have for you today is from the Bonneville Health Foundation.
Mr. Reeve?
Yes.
I do believe Councillor Swigert had a motion arising
Yes.
regarding a letter of support.
Yeah, do we, interested in that? So.
You can go ahead, sure.
So, the letter of support, Deputy Reeve, Crick had some valid points. I still think we want to show that support, and I'm sure we've already written letters to ministers about real crime, but I think because this came up and we've sort of denied support for that letter, I think we should write our own support letter, maybe with some comments that, you could come up with yourself in that letter. Kind of just to show support and that the MD of Bonneville does have issues with real crime and that the solution isn't cameras. But yeah, I'd make the motion that we actually write a letter of support to that same minister, I guess, with our comments on it.
Just for clarity, what supporting?
Well, just showing that this area is in need of rural crime initiatives and that, our chamber is trying to do something, and I agree with Councillor Fadeev. It should have been like almost an Alberta-wide letter, not just from Bonneville. It was from Bonneville Chamber, I think.
That's correct.
Yeah. I mean, because, it's as bad or worse than Coal Lake, so it should have been from them also. But I think, rather than say that we're not interested in supporting the Bonneville Chamber, I'd suggest we write a letter of support to the same minister.
All right, we can make a motion. You made that's a motion?
That was the motion, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, it's not that clear on what the motion is exactly going to say, but I know you guys are wordsmiths, so you can figure it out.
Just a quick question, Al. We sent out lots of letters to the ministers on, already have support letters and.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Reeve, through the Reeve to all of council. We sent several letters over the last year regarding real crime as well. In November, we met with the Deputy Premier, Minister of Public Safety, Mike Ellis. All of council actually, or most of council attended that. All of council was invited. We also met online with Minister Amory, who's the Minister of Justice, Solicitor General's office. We met with him and had the same conversation. We were told at that time by Minister Ellis said there was, we could apply for this $30,000 grant to figure out what police could do for us in our municipality. And Mr. Amory indicated to us that there was going to be some special new program that would be coming to give peace officers more authority. Well, here we are mid-February and that's 4 months later, and we still haven't heard what that program is going to be. So we have written several letters, and we have met multiple times with ministers as well. The issue was discussed with both MP Stubbs and MP Leila Goodrich as well when Ms. Goodrich attended council here. I think it was the end of November or end of October. So it's been discussed multiple times.
Yes, and we just met, kind of at the Shaw Center with the Premier, and everybody there had the same, she's heard loud and clear.
No, I get it. I just, like, we refused to support the chamber, so I kind of thought, well, let's not, we're not really refusing to support it. I mean, they've got a good initiative. It just needs to, should have been reworded differently, and I agree.
Okay. Okay, thank you for making this motion. Councillor Swaggart, on behalf of council, the council approves sending a letter from the Reeve to Municipal Affairs regarding local support to address rural crime concerns. Is that okay? Yes, any discussion?
Yeah, I basically echo what the CAO said, that we had met with the minister, Mike Ellis, the deputy premier in public safety, and in November, and then we also had a Zoom meeting with the Justice Minister, Mickey Amory, and rural crime is something that we're taking very seriously, and we want people to be safe, their homes, their businesses. So I support that we reach out to the government. I think in as well as the Minister of Municipal Affairs, we can put the Justice Minister and Public Safety on there as well.
And Mr. Reed, I'll just kind of comment in the letter that Chamber wrote. They said nonviolent crime, and I'm saying, you know, when a guy comes into a store with a handgun or with machetes, I assume that's pretty violent. So I don't know if they really realize that's happening. I guess they do, but I'm not even sure why the chamber would have said nonviolent crime, because these are pretty violent people.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need some of those, you know, bits in a letter saying that, you know, here's a list of over the last month, what's happened in Cold Lake, Bonneville, whatever. Just these are crazy, unbelievable what's going on.
Yeah, we all agree.
Mr. Reeve, if I could make a suggestion?
Yes.
Having been around this game quite a while, I can tell you that the particular motion is sent a letter to Minister of Municipal Affairs. Municipal Affairs has nothing to do with crime. He's going to slough this off to 3 other ministers, and it will never be heard from again. We have a certain amount of strength with the Premier. The Premier has come twice inside the 12-month period to Bonneville, and she has sat and met with, there was almost 900 people in attendance at the dinner on the 26th of January. I would suggest to whoever wants to, if somebody wants to amend the motion, that letter should be sent directly to the Premier. And then she can determine where it would go from there. But we have a certain amount of weight that we carry with the Premier, given that she's been here twice in 12 months. Apparently had a good time here on the 26th. I would offer to council that potentially that letter should be sent to the Premier as opposed to the Minister of Municipal Affairs.
Yeah, that definitely.
I agree with that. So if I can just have that motion amended to go to the Premier? And then who, I mean, it probably should go to all of them, but the Premier's at the head there, so.
We could certainly CC Mike Ellis, Mickey Amory, our MPs, so we could, on the CC list, you could add quite a few people.
Thank you.
Did we need a motion to amend that, or?
Because it was his own motion.
He's okay?
I think it would have been fine.
All right, everybody can read that. If everybody's happy with that. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. That's carried, thank you. 9.3.5?
Through the Reeve, I actually need to correct myself. Councillor Fadeev is correct. In the previous request last year that was brought forward from the Bonneville and District Chamber of Commerce, they had also requested their concept of a sponsorship wall, so it had come to us previously. So my apologies for that.
He had his finger on the trigger, the button to open the door being underneath you.
Goodbye, yeah. Okay, our second request, at the regular meeting of council on January 9th, the Bonneville and District Chamber of Commerce, let's switch pages here, sorry, my bad. The Bonneville Health Foundation presented to council some information on and requesting sponsorship for their 24th annual fundraising gala themed Flight 24 Around the World, happening on April 13th, 2024. Council directed administration to bring their request back to a future meeting of council for consideration. The MD of Bonnyville continues to support our community's healthcare services through annual contributions and sponsorships, currently to the Bonnyville Health Foundation, Cold Lake Hearts for Healthcare, and the Bonnyville Child and Adolescent Mental Health Collaborative. Historically, specifically for the Bonnyville Health Foundation, the MD has most recently provided a $10,000 contribution to the galas in 2020 and 2023, as well as attended the events. They have also received MD promotional item donations through our donation sponsorship and recognition policy in 2019, 2020, 2022, and 2023. Attached for council's reference is the January 9th delegation presentation listing all sponsorship level options. Reference to our strategic plan is this refers back to goal number 1, building a prosperous and sustainable community. Cost and source of funding. Cost options are really any of the sponsorship levels that are attached in the package. However, for comparison to what we provided last year, that would be a $10,000 first-class ticket title sponsor, which includes a table of 8. This next level up from that is a $15,000 travel agent spotlight sponsor, which also includes a table of 8. If council wishes to just purchase a table of 8, the cost is $1,000. As well, they are requesting silent auction prize donation as well. The source of funding for any approval besides the silent auction prize donation would be from the 2024 council operating budget, specifically grants to industry and non-government organizations. And just a reminder that our current available balance there is $41,000. Communication strategy, the Bonnyville Health Foundation will be notified in writing of the decision of council. Administration's recommended action based on previous year history is that council approves the request for sponsorship by the Bonnyville Health Foundation for their 2024 annual fundraising gala in the amount at council's discretion at whichever level of sponsorship you wish to choose. And my apologies again, that would be sourced from the 2024 council operating budget, not the 2023 council operating budget.
Thank you. Any suggestions?
So,
Councillor Fidel?
yeah, so in the past, we've done 10, correct? I
Yep.
think so, yeah. So I know the town of Bonnyville really stepped up, and I think they took the world tour at 25, so happy to see that. When do these decisions have to be put into place pretty quickly, or?
Soon,
Yeah.
Through the REEV, the sooner we get confirmed, the better. I know they are limited on the number of spots that are available per level.
Yeah, I mean, for me, just, in regards to where the money's going to and everything else, it is definitely a huge asset to our community, and I even like to see us step it up to travel agent part to 15. But that's just my own opinion on that one. It's just, it's, we all use it, and I think it's important for us to support them in a big way.
Thank you. Councillor Scarson?
Yeah, I agree, and I think this one's always an easy one for me, because you know that all the money that's raised goes right back into things that we need at the hospitals and all that stuff, so, I mean, it's, 15,000 is, for sure.
Yes, Councillor Slipchip?
Councillor Fidel, you said they took the world tour of the town?
Yeah, the town of Bonnyville, from recollection, had taken the world tour, and yeah, and say in the past we've always been at 10,000. Like to see us step it up to 15, and again, there's a few hospitals that we support, and I think just stepping it up to 15 is a great cause. I know a lot of people have are coming here for the extra cancer shots and everything else. That is, it's a huge part of it, and it keeps people off the road and off going to Edmonton, and it's kept locally, and that's the awesome part about this one.
Because I see they got road trip, one for 2 opportunities there. Would you know if they're both available, or would you want to opt for the road trip there?
We would hate to take that opportunity away from some of the big sponsors, some of the big energy companies. Okay, I'll make the motion to go with the travel agent at 15,000 is and to support them.
All right, thank you, Councillor Fadеев, for making a motion on behalf of council. That council approves the request for sponsorship by the Bonneville Health and Foundation for their 2024 annual fundraising gala in the amount of 15,000 for the travel agent spotlight level of sponsor to be funded from the 2024 council operating budget. Any discussion on this, gentlemen?
Mr. Reid?
Yes.
Could we just throw if Councillor Fadеев is okay with that, throw in the silent auction prize also, so we don't need another motion? It was option 3, cost option 3 there, or C was silent auction prize, which I think we're going to do anyway. But if Councillor Fadеев is okay with it, just add it on.
Okay, can we add that on? Why don't we just make 2 motions? Let's keep this one on, and then we'll make another one right after.
Well, it was his amendment, though. As per my last one, I amended my own, and you didn't need another motion, so he's making the amendment for the silent auction thing.
It's definitely saved a ton of time.
Yeah, it does.
Steph's not gonna be happy with me, guys.
That was your idea, right? Yeah. We do anyway, yeah.
Yes, way faster to make 2 motions. Okay, it's the same motion with furthermore approve the donation of a silent auction item. Any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. That's carried, thank you. Break? All right, we're going to break for lunch.